videos and audio in mute. And while one of our guests joins, we will start due to paucity of time. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all. Very warm welcome. Thanks for joining today's webinar, the topic of which is pivotal role of HR in post-pandemic era and industry readiness of B school graduates, which has been organized by the HR Club of BCCM, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan.
Welcome,
BCCM.
Dr. Karthikeyan. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah.
Sorry for the delay. Please go ahead.
Okay.
So,
Thank
the topic for today, as I was saying, is pivotal role of HR in post-pandemic era and industry readiness of B school graduates. And this webinar has been organized by the HR Club of BCCM. I am Professor Abhishek Sinha, your moderator and host for today. Today, we have with us a panel of eminent people with rich experience in the field of HR. I welcome Dr. Karthikeyan Ranganathan, CEO IFTDO, MD GMBA Consulting and former president of ISTD, and Mr. R.N. Mishra, who's a former head HR of Tata Steel and also an HR consultant, who would be speaking on the topic and sharing their views. We are also joined today by our chairman, Sir, Major General B.K. Mahapatra, APCM, and Dean Dr. Sujata Manraj, ma'am, and Professor Swaroop Pradhan, HR Club mentor, and other faculty members. Welcome, Chairman, Sir, Dean, Madam, and all the faculties and students as well. The program flow would be something like we'll have a welcome address, the chairman address, and address by the panel speakers, and then we'll be taking up questions from the audience towards the end of the session. Audience can send in their questions through chat and we'll put it up before the panel. Now I would request Dean ma'am to please give a welcome address and introduce the guests to the participants. Dean ma'am.
Thank you, Abhishek. Our Honorable Chairman, Major General Vasant Mahapatra sir, esteemed guest speaker, Dr. R. Karthikeyan, CEO IFTDO and Managing Director, Gemba Management Consulting and former National President ISTD, revered guest speaker, Mr. R.N. Mishra, Senior Legal Practitioner, HR Consultant and Corporate Trainer, former Head HR, IR and Legal, Tata Steel, our Professor Dr. R.N. Patnaik sir, Head of Placement, Bhavan Center for Communication and Management, dear Professor Swaroop Pradhan, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of the HR Club Spandan, dear Professor Abhishek, Assistant Professor BCCM, and the moderator for this webinar, esteemed dignitaries, HR practitioners, ISTD members, members of think tank, deans, directors, and faculty members of the other business schools, my dear faculty colleagues, and my dearest students, a very good afternoon to all of you. This club activity has been organized by our dear students. Very good afternoon to all of you, sir. On behalf of the students, faculty members, and management of Bhavan Center for Communication and Management, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bhubaneswar, I extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all of you to this inaugural ceremony of Spandan, the HR Club, and the webinar on a very pertinent topic in the context of pandemic COVID-19. My greetings and good wishes to all of you. Time keeps on changing, transmitting the life of the human race, throwing up new situations and circumstances, compelling us to adjust and acclimatize to new climate, new conditions, and a new environment like COVID-19 and the new normal today. BCCM, Bhavan Center for Communication and Management, has consistently able to manage it, and that is an amazing phenomenon. We feel this could not have been done or possible without the blessings and guidance of the divine. Today is one such blessings, that is the presence of our two distinguished HR leaders to inaugurate the HR Club and shower their blessings on our students. This could not have been done if It is not online and it is offline. I feel that's a great blessing for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel it a great honor for me to introduce our revered guests of today's webinar to all of you. Let me take this opportunity to first introduce our revered guest, Dr. R. Karthikeyan. Dr. Ranganathan Karthikeyan is the founder and managing director of Gemba Management Consulting. Currently, he is heading International Federation of Training and Development Organization, IPTIDO, as its CEO. He was the national president of Indian Society for Training and Development, ISTD. That is for the first time in the history of ISTD for a long period of 3 years. I still remember those times. He holds MPhil degree in clinical psychology from National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore, and a PhD in psychology from the University of Madras. He started his career with the Murugappa Group as the head of their training center and subsequently became the first HR manager of Hyundai Motor India Limited. With nearly 3 decades of experience, later on, he became a well-known OD consultant, HR consultant, and corporate trainer. He is a certificate holder of Design Thinking Certification of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT Sloan. Harrison's Talent Assessment Head Certified Partner, ROI Methodology Certified from ROI Institute, USA, and Advanced TOC Thinking Skills Certificate holder from the Goldratt Institute, USA. My dear students, please listen the certifications and the value of it. His key HR consulting competencies include organizational culture transformation, leadership development, change management, talent assessment, and many more areas of HR. I think due to paucity of time, I'm unable to read those areas. He has trained over 50,000 employees across sectors and industry from automobile, heavy engineering to IT, almost all sectors. He is a well-known columnist with the Hindu and other leading publications and has published 9 books in Tamil. I personally know Dr. Karthikeyan for last 1 decade. A true professional, a well-known trainer, a transformational leader. I mean to say transformational because I have seen those days of ISTD, what a transformation, what a activity. I personally feel for the first time in ISTD, he started a committee that is a Women Empowerment Committee, and I was chairing that committee. I still feel there's nothing but transformation. And if I look, he's a noble soul. I still remember, sir, your energy, your tenacity, your perseverance in handling the chapter chairperson's workshop of ISTD at Chennai, where very old people like me were the participant, and you handled so well. It was way back in 2014 or 15, I still remember. I attended that. Sir, on behalf of the students of HR Club of BCCM, I extend a very warm and a hearty welcome to you. I take this opportunity to introduce our revered guest, Sri Rudra Narayan Mishra, a senior legal practitioner, HR consultant, and corporate trainer, former head HR, IR, and legal of Tata Steel. Mr. Mishra, sir, after completing his postgraduate in personnel management and industrial relations, PM and IR, and bachelor degree of law from Utkal University, he joined Steel Authority of India Limited at its Raurkela steel plant as a management trainee in 1981, and subsequently joined Tata Steel in 1982. 34 years he served Tata Steel in different divisions and different responsibilities. He was last employed as the head of HRM and employee relations at the corporate center, Tata Steel Jamshedpur. He was appointed as a consultant by Tata Steel Limited after his retirement in 2016. Presently, He is a senior HR and IR consultant to several companies, including manufacturing, healthcare, marketing, IT, educational, and multinational consultancy firms. He is also closely associated with the central trade unions, and he is the advisors to several trade unions. Having more than 40 years of experience in handling various areas of human resources, industrial relations, establishment, and legal, he was appointed as the constituted attorney by Tata Steel Limited. He is presently a legal practitioner at the High Court and Supreme Court of India, basically specializing in labor laws and matters concerning HR and IR. He is a visiting faculty to IIM Kolkata, XLRI Jamshedpur, Tata Management Development Center Jamshedpur, and many leading business schools of India, including Wellington Institute of Management, Mumbai, and Bangalore. He has conducted several management development programs and senior leadership development programs of leading corporate houses of the country. He is associated with several professional bodies like NIPM, CII, ISTD, NHRD, and many more, and authored more than 250 professional research articles and published several publications in national and international journals of repute. He is known for his outstanding knowledge in the area of HR, IR, and legal. I am associated with him in several professional activities for nearly 4 decades. He started his career in 1981. I completed my postgraduate in 1981. We both are the alma mater of the same university, Utkal University. I still remember, sir, you conducted a 3-day workshop for HR club students of Regional College of Management. It was way back in 2004. I still remember. It was so invigorating, very, very invigorating, sir. You addressed in 2011 the AIMS National Convention held at the Hotel Mayfair, Bhubaneswar. I still remember. It is a very thrilling experience for all of us. A very warm and hearty welcome to you, sir. We all are eagerly waiting to listen both of you. We have with us our Honorable Chairman, Major General Basant Kumar Mahapatra, sir, who is an epitome of knowledge, a storehouse of energy, divinely inspired enthusiasm, always spirited, and makes it contagious for all of us. Sir, a very warm and a hearty welcome to you, sir. I think whatever with the subject, he has interest. Whatever with the technology, he has knowledge. He has inquisitiveness to learn, and that's what we all learn from him. Sir, I welcome you. With this, I once again welcome all of you to this webinar and would like to quote a line from Rig Veda. Let noble thoughts come to us from every side. And that's the punchline of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. I feel it will too come to us today with the very learned 2 esteemed guests present for this webinar through HR Club inauguration. Thank you, sir. Thank you all, and wishing you all the best for this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean ma'am. We are really indeed privileged to have 2 eminent speakers with us today for this club activity. Now I would like to call upon Chairman Sir to give his opening introduction about this topic for the HR Club. Chairman Sir, it's over to you now for your opening address.
Thank you. Firstly, namaskar to all the people. All the people, particularly the students, the young people, the students. The whole meeting is for you. Let me start off asking some difficult questions. What do you understand when I say 9/11? 9/11, anybody, any student, raise your hand and tell what is 9/11 stands for. Okay, 9/11 is the episode attacked by the terrorists.
Mumbai attack, sir.
Mumbai attack.
No. Terrorists in the Twin Towers.
World Trade Center.
That is the World Trade Center. And how many people died there? 2,977, and injury 25,000. That is 9/11. What do you understand when we talk about 26/11? Anybody?
Mumbai attack.
Taj attack.
That's right.
Taj attack.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now I'm talking about Taj attack. It happened on 26th night. The people came from the gateway of India and they attacked Taj Hotel. That was the most iconic thing for the world. What happened there? They had at that time 450 guests who were staying there. They had 600 people as the restaurants and the convention hall. Then they had 600 staff. Total, there were 1,700 people. The attack came all of a sudden. Number of you may have forgotten, but I'll suggest you see these videos are available. What happened? The death toll was 206. 166 people died. Taj itself had 31 people, and terrorists were 9. But then what happened? It closed down, it was dilapidated, it was bombed, it was destroyed. But within a few months, this happened in November, and you know, on 21st of December, it reopened. And by July, next year, July, it was totally operational, showing the resilience, showing the adaptability, and facing the crisis. Why am I referring to this? Why am I referring to this? Harvard University, the team came from there to study what happened. They had 600 employees. And when the attack came, it was well coordinated from the front, from the rear, from the side, and bombed AK-47 rifles. And all employees knew what is the entry and all the exit points. Emergency exit point, all other exit points. But how many of them left? How many of them left in that terror attack? When it was bombed, it was fire and all that. How many? Please tell me somebody. From the audience, anybody? None. Not one person left the hotel. Not one person left the hotel. All of them were there. They are the people. They helped the guests to escape. They are the people who not only volunteered, they took risk to ensure that the guests have gone. Guests have gone. And they managed to do that. They managed to do that. When this thing was known to the world, they were astounded. How come? Not a single person out of 600, including the chief chef, that gentleman, he became a leader. He had 17 people, cooks with him. He formed a chain, and one by one, by a ladder, by rope, he helped people to go out. Now that is what happened. His name is Hemant Oberoi. He is a classic figure. The young lady, where there was a global conference which was going on, she said she was there. All the telephone operators, they forgot about their safety. All were there. Everybody was there. So the Harvard University had a study. It is an unprecedented thing in the whole world that all staff, without exception, in the calamity, they stayed on. And it started from the night of 26th, all of 27th and 28th. This thing was going on. There were no orders from the top. There was no instruction from anywhere else. and the entire people, they are the people who conducted themselves. They gave food, water, whatever was there, and managed to escape, arrange the escape of people. So what did the Harvard University find the lessons? Lessons. The first lesson is leadership from the bottom. Leadership from the bottom. We have been talking about leadership from the top, but this is a classic example of leadership from bottom. Now that Harvard University has picked it up from here. Then they have analyzed how come, how did all of these people, 600 of them, conducted themselves. Each one was there. There was no control, command and control. What was the recruiting policy of the company? Tata's. First, they do not take people for this front office and other from the big cities, Calcutta, Bombay, Chennai, like that. They take from tier 2, tier 3. Second, they don't take toppers. You don't have to be brilliant. They go and talk to the teachers and find out who are the people who are endowed with emotional content. Who are the people who are endowed with social content? Who are the people who are endowed with spiritual quotient? And that is demonstrated by their behavior and the respect they give to the elders, to the parents, to the teachers and others. They recruit them. They recruit them. Now that is the second thing what they found. Third thing they found is that tell their people that you are not our ambassador there, be the ambassador of the guests to the organization. Be the ambassador of the guests to the organization and not ambassadors of the company. Very big lesson. Be the ambassador of the company, of the guests. Now this is applicable not only to a hotel, everywhere. Wherever the HR people are there, they are the people. As we say, the customer is the king. So ultimately, people whom you are giving services, people who are giving products, whatever you are doing, it is the who are receiving it. They are the people who you have to take. So I'm repeating this sentence for you to understand. Be the ambassador of the guests to the organization and not ambassadors of the company to their guests. That is a very big lesson which has been learned. Next one, appreciation. Incentive. Incentive of money is not that important than giving appreciation in the public of somebody who has done good, which have come to your notice. And a delayed thing for special occasion loses its significance. And do you know in Taj, if somebody has done something, within 48 hours, a letter of appreciation comes from the head. So that is another point which was noted by the Harvard University. I'm giving out the lessons which have been learned and given out by the Harvard University, and particularly a gentleman, his name is Rohit Deshpande. I suggest you open the TED book. He has got a talk on this only. So I will close this thing. I've taken a little longer time, but I thought it's a beautiful example. And the film club, please get the picture on Taj Attack. There are 2-3 pictures are there, and see it, and TED Talk. So the HR is the most important thing. And HR consists of emotional quotient, social quotient, spiritual quotient. 3 of them. The IQ, that the leadership who is there, IQ is of course part of it, but these are the important things. So HR plays a very, very important role. You people are lucky to be in a tier 2, tier 3 cities. You may not be the topper or brilliant, but you have got very good opportunity. You will make good and you will rise. Thank you, all of you. God bless.
Thank you, Chairman, sir, for wonderful insights, picking up from a particular incident of disaster and how organization culture and policies plays an important role in shaping up self-motivation of employees, crisis handling, and situational leadership, which these Tata employees exhibited. Now, I would like to call upon Professor Swarup Pradhan. He is the brain behind, the mentor, the guide, the person who has been toiling hard and working to bring this to life. I would like to call upon to share his experiences and talk more about this HR club and what it intends to do for the students. Professor Swarup, it's over to you now.
Thank you, Abhishek sir. A very good evening to all the dignitaries present in the inaugural ceremony of HR Club Spandan. Thank you, Chairman sir, Major General Basant Kumar Mahapatra, AVSM, and Director cum Dean, Professor Dr. Sujata Mangraj, for giving me the opportunity to coordinate the HR Club of Bhavan Center for Communication and Management. So for the HR Club, we have set a vision. The vision of HR Club is to bring excellence among students, driven through the experts from the field. And the mission for the HR Club is to hold events all through the year to enable students to gain insights into the latest happenings in the field of HR. The activities ranging from seminar, conferences, debates, quiz, games, and exercise to enhance the relevance and essential skills required to make successful HR personnel in the corporate world. The purpose of Spandan is to bring together students interested in the field of human resources and help them develop interpersonal skills needed in the corporate world. Encourage them to meet professionals who work in the field of human resource management. This club is designed to help students learn more about human resource and what human resource professionals do. The club promotes the active participation of students. This enables in developing the students to plan and arrange for the events successfully. The club activities will be organized in a regular basis to promote the team spirit and implement the HR concept practically. The objectives of this HR club are to continuously strive for academic and professional excellence in the field of HRM and OB, to enhance the skills and competency of students through sharing and learning, to provide a forum for discussion and interaction and a platform for enhancing skills, identifying modern approaches in human resources management and train students accordingly to the requirement of business environment. Establish contacts between HR managers in order to share the information and experience. Next, to organize and conduct seminars, conferences, and training courses. So these are the activities that we have planned to do in the HR club. So apart from the club activities, let me give a brief about the subjects that are being provided in BCCM. We have a range of subjects we provide and equip students to learn and to get knowledge and to be more fit for the corporate world. Like we are providing organizational behavior 1, in the first year. In the second trimester, we are providing organizational behavior 2. In the third trimester, we are providing negotiation skills and human resource management. And we have 8 specialization papers like training and development, labor laws, employee relations, compensation management, training and development, performance appraisal. So this is all about the HR club and the subjects we are dealing with. Now I would like to hand over the session to Abhishek Sinha to carry on the webinar.
Thank you, Professor Swarup. Swarup, it's indeed a very comprehensive list of activities which the HR Club intends to do and provide real life experiences, simulated experiences, expert sessions to help them build on their professional and functional competencies. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Karthikeyan Ranganathan sir to open the session with his address to the students on this particular topic about how HR will play a pivotal role in the current situation and the changes situation which the world is will be seeing. Over to you, Sir Karthikeyan, sir. Sir, you are on mute. You will have to unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you very much. First, I wish to place my appreciation and gratitude to Professor Dr. Sujata Mangaraj. I'm here because of her invitation, and I'm very indebted for all her warmth and good words. And we had a very brief association intensely, but I think she's one person who has given more than what has been taken. I always say that she has never asked anything for her, and she was very keen that I should come to the campus, which I'm dodging. Now I can say that I would do that. One of the post-pandemic promise is to kind of visit your campus, and very happy to be here doing this job of inaugurating and being a part of the August panel. And when I looked into the profiles of Mr. Mishra, I think I'm sure students are going to really benefit from this club and this activity. So let me give my inputs briefly, take about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll see what sense I can make, and I'll be open for Q&A at the end of it. Being a person across traveling, I think my basic identity is a psychologist, got into training and management by choice. And today I work with organizations and individuals at the same time. And what I feel is, if I have to stick to the topic of talking about the pivotal role, what HR is going to play into post-pandemic, first of all, we are not sure when this pandemic situation is going to get over. So it is a little too early to even talk about into post-COVID scenarios. Because one thing is come for sure, we are all talking about new normalcy. We are all very good in terms of retrograde analysis. We can go back and say how things have happened, how it could have happened. While it's happening, I think most of the time we are awestruck and we really take time to respond. And COVID is one of the, according to me, the biggest black swan event of the century or the times I've ever known, where none of us have predicted, none of us know what's happening, and everyone has different assumptions and guesses going on. My point is, I'm not going to say that when this is going to get over, but one is in the capacity of someone who is heading a global organization today. I speak to a lot of speakers across the world, and I'm very keen to understand how they are coping, what are the challenges, what we can pick from them. When borders are sealed, it opens a lot of newer challenges, right from your manpower, right from your kind of business model, right from the way you're going to address the scenario, right from the way you're going to engage, let's get the people, engage the people, hold the people, and survive. I think everyone is learning in their own way. No one is an exception here. But I feel as a student being here, I am seeing what would kind of benefit you from this interaction. This is true. I mean, whether you are during COVID or post-COVID, as a HR professional, all through my life, I have been talking, training, recruiting, supporting, mentoring. Two things you need to pick up very important as a part of the syllabus, grow from the syllabus and apart from the syllabus. Two independent interdisciplines who are very deeply connected with HRM, but they may not have that kind of a specialist understanding. I think these two are so important for you in the days to come. Number one is law. Number two is psychology. If you ask me, these two things are so important for a student. And I think it is not about from where you belong, what language you speak, and what's your background, what is your academic score. How good are you going to understand people relate to people, work with people, collaborate and make things happen. These are going to be the skills which are going to be more and more of importance. So you need to know the law of land, what is right, what is not right, what is legally in terms permissible, where are the kind of contours of law. This is something like a kind of good marriage. Okay, you need to know when it breaks, or if there is a legal entanglement, what are the ones. But that's not enough to run a good marriage. You need to understand the psychology. You need to understand people and holistically, both individually as well as from the collective backgrounds. And I very strongly believe, and I really like the speech what I had from the chairperson, is that more and more you are from a modest background or a tier 2, or you are more culturally rooted, I think you will be very successful in HR, because HR is not just jargon. HR is not about technology. HR is not about name dropping or big names, but HR is how good are you with your people. And I think we have a lot of collective unconscious where if you are able to pick and have a conversation with a stranger, if you make someone to open up and able to deeply kind of listen, if you are able to empathize with the situation, which is very new, if you are able to be very authentic with your leadership and share what you truly believe in, these are the skills which are much easier for someone who is rooted than who is transplanted. So I believe sometimes it may take a little slower start, but I have seen all through, I think a good part of life, I have seen the real leaders have come where they are kind of rooted. It is not the big names that matter. It's not the big degrees that matter, but what you have done and how you are known for. And in a small world like this, especially HR, when you do good or when you do bad, it goes around very, very fast. So as a student, I think what I want you to know is you have to look into how the world is moving constantly, because what has not happened in about uh, in terms thousands of years happened in 1,000 years. What has not happened in 1,000 years happened in 100 years. What has not happened in 100 years is happening in 10 years. So it is very difficult to gaze and see these are the trends the world is going to be. None of us are so wise to do that. But what we see is that it's going to be more and more uncertain. It's going to be more and more ambiguous. So I think your ability to handle uncertainty, ability to learn while you handle a situation, and look for the world with a much open mind. So what you learn, what you're told, you should have the ability to keep it aside and look with your common sense. Most of the times, in fact, when people ask me what is the secret for your success, I don't truly believe I have arrived where I really want to. But when people ask, I always say this: I have an 8th standard student's brain. Like, I think like an 8th standard boy, if he is not having an education, what he would do here. I think that common sense is very important, and a deliberate choice you need to exercise. You need to use education whenever it is required and to keep it aside when you think it might kind of color your perception. I'm sure days are going to come where we are going to work with machines. Artificial intelligence is in place, and more amount of value would be for people who create these machines or who knows to work with machines. Now, as a person this side, other end of the spectrum, who is not a techie guy, the one thing which I quickly saw that was a big opportunity. When everyone said this is a threat, I saw an opportunity. If everything is going to be covered, in fact, my son and daughter say that, in fact, my daughter reads a lot, okay, much more than me. So she says it's going to be a connect between biotech and infotech. And it's going to be like, all the data from your blood fluids is going to be available in analytics. So if you want to buy something, you will be kind of guided with analytics, and they will tell you this is what is that you need to do. So more and more of machine learning and artificial intelligence and cognitive abilities are in place. I see a greater and greater scope of emotional intelligence to dominate. So I think we need to see what internal machines cannot do, at least as of today. We need to pick up those skills what internal machine as of now is struggling with. I don't think internal machines can cut a joke. Machines can pull a small conversation, small talk. Machine can kind of network, not in the technical term, in terms of having to connect with people, sense the mood, and have a soft bargain or a hard bargain, and lure people and play with emotions, understand, inspire. I think these are all the things which HR managers are largely looked upon. Understand data, understand all that. Okay, understand how you can use a machine learning, understand the data science, understand technology, because these things keep on changing. You cannot be a master. By the time you're kind of mastering, it get obsolete. Okay, so I think what is going to be the major challenge, according to me, is that more and more people would have problems in handling themselves. If we lost more people on war and homicides all through the history, now we are losing people on suicides, on intrapersonal conflicts. So the real into Kurukshetra is going to be in the minds. It's not between the clans. We have moved from fighting with others to fighting with oneself. There is tremendous need for psychologists, counselors, social workers, teachers, healers, storytellers, mediators, lawyers. I think we need people to talk to people. So, what I would say is don't get lured by all the big magazines, big names, technology, startups. All these things are important. I greatly value them. But play on your strengths. Play on your strengths. I'm sure all of you have strengths, signature strengths, which are so unique, which may not come up early, which may not be tapped in academic records, and which you may not get a recognition earlier. Need not, may not, need not, whatever. But please understand, I think those are the ones really going to really take you to a different level. And HR is an unofficial psychologist, as they say. He's also a lawyer. He's also a counselor. He's also a public relations guy. He's also a kind of missionary to government. He's also a brand ambassador. I think he does so many things depending on the situations. And most important, being a kind of conscience keeper. I think HR has a big role in advising leadership on ethics, on governance, on sounding what is right, what is good, what is the ground reality. HR has a lot of role. So I think it's very important in a student life is to talk to people, and especially in these kind of encounters when you have people, more than we in terms lecturing to you, we say few things, but I would be very happy and glad to see how we can in turn respond to your queries. HR is not a pure discipline like a physics or kind of mathematics or economics or into sociology. It's a into blended discipline. So which means the challenges are very, very different. We are not going in depth, we are going on width. So you may know many things. So the scope is that if you can really look up into those areas where your syllabus is not covered, where you're not seen, I think those are the things which I would look into it. And like any other campus, campus is an introduction. Campus is a feel good. Campus is a culture connect. But the most important thing is, to me, campus is only an introduction. Okay, I think so. Don't stop with this. Start with this. I see some interqueries. I don't know whether I should take it right now or should I wait for the next speaker and take it at the end? Abhishek, help me please.
Sir, I think we will take it towards the end and continue.
Yeah.
So you can continue with your address if it is not over yet, sir, or it's over.
I'll just take a couple of minutes to close.
Okay, sir.
Not going to take much time here. One thing is, we all hope to come back to normalcy, and human race is always known for the endurance. Strongly believe, pray, and work so. And at a time like this, it is an opportunity to really show your endurance, show your tolerance. Now, we all are adapting. Adaptation is the hallmark of the human known species. So I never expected I will sit in a place, look at a screen, and be like into spending time in coaching or into mentoring or training. My complete body work has been reoriented today. I think ice breaking is at a very, very different level. My humor has to be very different. Okay, the kind of materials has to be very different. The engagement techniques are very different. I think we are all learning. Please take care of your health, because electronic screen syndrome is already in place. When you are not looking at the screens, close your eyes and rest, get into silence, try something like Vipassana at a very early stage. Okay, make sure that you work on your wellness, because wellness is not something which attacks old age. I think the scope is much earlier. As a student, while I say other things, your health is your priority. And if you are to play a long innings, start in terms of preserving from now. With these few words, I'm very glad to be here, and thanks for the invitation, and looking for the other lecture and also handling wherever I can help the students. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan sir. It was very nicely, succinctly, and crisply put. HR, the role which it will play, and the skills, the soft skills which all the people need to have in terms, mostly in terms of people management, and continuous learning is also what you spoke about. The campus is just the start. The entire life is before the students to pick up different skills and learn. Uh, Now I would like to call upon Mr. R.N. Mishra sir to share his views and address the students on the topic. Over to you, Rudra Mishra sir.
Thank you, Sinha Saab. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Am I visible?
Yes, yes, very much,
Oh,
sir.
great. Uh, Esteemed co-panelist, Dr. R. Karthikeyan, the director and the chairperson of the institute, Major General B.K. Mahapatra Saab, Professor Abhishek Sinha Saab, Madam Sujata Mangraj, Swarup Pradhan Saab, and my dear students and the participants. It's indeed a great pleasure and pride for me to be here during this inaugural occasion or event on a very auspicious day. Today is actually is the month of Ashwin, 10th day, Dasmi. Had this wrong month would not have come in between, probably this would have been the Dasahara day. Dasahara day. So it is indeed a victory day for all of us. On this wonderful day, keeping that in mind, we are launching this inaugural program. And we have heard already my co-panelist, Dr. R. Karthikeyan. We have heard extensively the message given about the leadership and the team that what Dr. Major General B.K. Mahapatra Sahab shared. Now I am coming straight out to the points. Maybe you have to bear me now 5 minutes left to 4. So how long I can speak?
Sir, you can continue. Sir, you
okay.
continue.
Well, I am now coming. Indeed, the HR club's name itself is very voluminous. It speaks volumes. Spandan. Spandan is sensation, the feeling, that feeling which comes from the inner core of the heart, that comes, that's Spandan. And we, the boarding leaders, the students, I was told they're from HR, they're from marketing, they're from finance, they're from hospital management, and things like that. We are the sole people, we are the boarding leaders and future leaders who would be running the whole show of the country. And maybe when country dominates, they have to play their own roles. Never mind.
I would suggest the participants to please keep their audio on mute so that we can have a smooth flow of the session.
Yeah. Now, the topic which has been chosen, definitely very appropriate. But let me start with two things. That nothing is predictable. Nothing is predictable except the fact except the thing that it is only change is predictable. Always change will come. That is the only thing that we can predict. And now that change has come. And I start with telling this pandemic that has come, coronavirus, is not a threat. It is not a challenge. It is not a threat, not a challenge, but ample of opportunities to redesign the business models for the future leaders. Remember, darkness never remains always there. Again, the morning comes. Similarly, when there are challenges, you become a seasoned leader. So take it as a challenge, as opportunities, not as a threat perception that nothing will happen and we have gone into mess. Now, friends, this COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated many trends associated with the future of the work and the gig talent and automation. In the process, the workplace has become more distributed and virtual. That is definitely difficult because physically we are not able to do many things. It has become virtual. In the reconfigured workplace organizations, we have to rethink the whole process of business, as well as rethink about the talent management. That is the most important thing because talent is needed. Unless we have the talent, we cannot revisit the business, we cannot reshape the business. And friends, in this world, another one which we have heard already, that is called VUCA world. Everybody knows what is VUCA, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexities, and ambiguities. It would always be there, whether it is COVID-19 or no COVID-19. It would be there, it would continue to be there. But we have to be mentally prepared that such threats are always opportunities, so we have to go ahead. And friends, for that thing, we must keep it in mind that will to win. I again tell emphatically, will to win, that is more important. अगर भगवान को हम लोग आप सुने होंगे अच्युतम केशम वाला जो भजन है कि if we can make the god dance, make the god sleep, make the god eat, make the god do everything, then why we can't do in business? It is the determination. It is the how do we do it that is all important. Whether we can behave like Ma Jashoda or Gopi or like a friends, that is all important in the business. And today is another very special day, that is HR Professionals Day. Today is the International HR Professionals Day. When this program is being launched, it is another great thing that is coinciding with this. Why I did say so? HR people, actually they have no shape. It is something like whichever shape you put it, they work. I normally tell, Sujata madam may support me, she might have heard. Our profession is like a profession, vegetable mein agar hum compare kare, it is like aloo, potato. You put it in meat, it suits good. You put it in Karela, it also suits good. So our profession is like potato. Wherever we put in, we work. Somebody was in between asking whether there should be job rotation. Now job rotation is a must. There is nothing called HR, matlab he will retire as VP or president or group president HR. It is job rotation is important because it is a business partnership. No more it is called business in isolation, that everybody will do their business in isolation. Now friends, I come into another thing. Till now I was using the word or phrase called HR, which normally people tell us human resources management. But I ask a question to all of you. Is human a resource? Is human a resource? No. In my opinion, human is never a resource. It is a source. Human is a source. And we are the source. We are the capital. It is human capital management, no more human resource management. And if I am the capital, then I have every avenue open to me how to run the business, how to save the business, how to build myself, how to build the nation, how to make the nation Atmanirbhar, self-reliance, make in India, everything that we can do. Now, friends, going back to those things, what I intend to drive home here is, in this present context, we have to, since suddenly this challenge came to us, we never knew it, we never anticipated it. So we have to unlearn many things that we have learned in the past. Many things we have learned, or we are doing a business in a particular way. Now those things have to be unlearned. Now learning has to be unlearned, but it has to be relearned again. The business has to be relearned, profession has to be relearned, theories has to be relearned, applications have to be relearned. Now, once you relearn the whole thing, then next step that comes in, step 2, is how to reset, how to bring that relearning to your reshaping of the business or your own profile or demography. And third, once having done this relearning and reshaping, you have to look at rejuvenating. How to rejuvenate, charge yourself so that the engagement level is so high, you are never a failure achieving in your organizational goal, mission, or anything that is given to you, or you decide for yourself in startups or individual entrepreneurs. So I emphasize again, relearning, reshaping, and rejuvenating. Those are the 3 things that we need to do, and I think it is very important. Now, friends, already my co-panelists, esteemed sir, have told about challenges in this current scenario. I tell definitely challenge, as we know, COVID is a challenge that came to us, but I tell it is an opportunity. VUCA is a thing that is not a very new thing. That concept came in 1962 during American-Vietnam War. That time this VUCA concept came because they are not knowing what is going to happen in the war in which scenario. So it will always continue. Even we don't know, like we just tell it, that past is a history, future is a mystery. Today is present is a gift. So enjoy the today and do whatever you can do today. Don't keep it for tomorrow. Now, friends, the whole scenario has changed on account of us, these future boarding leaders. They were listening to me, whether in whichever field they are, whether they're in marketing, finance, or hospital management. Everybody is dealing with HR aspect, HR dimensions. They will lead the human elements with them. They will lead them from the front. So all are HR guys. But I must tell, earlier, when I was initially in employment, I was thinking, my boss wants me to do something and I am doing. That is my KPIs, KRAs and everything. But those concepts have changed. Those concepts are changed. Like Major General Mahapatra Sahab will tell me, you address it, I address. But I will never volunteer to address anything. So that is a demand supply theory. It was a Keynesian theory. You ask for something and I give it back to you. It is not that role. It is before you ask me, I should be mentally prepared to say, yes, I'll do. In fact, this morning, when early morning I was just having tea, I got a call from Madam Sujata. She just told, there is a webinar, this, that. So I told, okay. I thought a couple of days. I thought it would be after a couple of days. She told, no, today. What time? No, 3 o'clock. I told, you are telling me, but she was knowing. She was fully knowing that since she's telling me, I'll never say no. That is not my profession. And remember, always our profession is our passion and passion is our love. If I say something that I love something, that is my profession. Never mind, in this scenario, our role has changed from operationally reactive role. I repeat again, anybody can note down, from operationally reactive role to strategic proactive role. Meaning thereby, because the word that was used initially about transformation by Major Mahapatra, I tell what is transformation? Transformation is never between good to better or better to best. Transformation is maybe from nothing to best. And how it happens? Take a simple example. From a caterpillar to butterfly. We don't touch even caterpillar. But when it becomes a butterfly, we all enjoy. Keep photos, post it in Instagram, post it in Facebook, many things that we do. That is called transformation. And we are the future boarding leaders. They were attending this program. They are the boarding leaders. It is only our some tips to them, but they have to decide their own jacket, their own size, what they can do, in which context they should do, when they should do, how they should do. They should ask these questions to themselves, then act. Now, coming back to my old points, how it is proactive role. Earlier, what was happening? It was operationally reactive role. My boss was asking, somebody has done some misconduct, conduct an inquiry. So I initiated the domestic inquiry process. Somebody asked me to fill up the vacancy. That requisition came from a department. So I took the steps. But now that is no more there. I must be ready enough that before somebody retires, I should have HR analytics with me to know how many people going to is their profile, what type of things are required, whether organization need them or don't need them. I should be preparing and keeping shortlisted candidates for succession planning. The moment my boss tells, no, I want a professor, I want a dean, I should give 6 names. Sir, these are the shortlisted candidates you may select. Dear Sujata, don't take it a threat to you. It is a joke. I know nobody can supply yourself. Just to keep the thing in a jovial sense. Never mind. That means I should be always ready to give. That is why our role has changed as HR business partners. We are no more secondary citizen in the organization as it was being told in the past. And I was also feeling in my initial career. But later on, I never felt, because I know I can command over marketing, I can command over procurement, I can command over many other things. And that is how the job changed also. Now, what are the other challenges apart from COVID or VUCA? It is the economic scenario of the country. Everybody is telling it is slowing down. Our honorable finance minister during the budget presentation told it is from 5.2% GDP should go to 10%. Actually, at that point of time, I remember it was 4.8%, and IMF assessed it to 3.2%. Of course, we are higher than world standard of 2.8%. But nobody knew at that point of time COVID will come and take a different stay where nothing can happen, no manufacturing segment will be there, no operation will be there, nobody will work, only live and livelihood ka chakkar mein will give emphasis on live. Livelihood hota hai on employment. But that got here and there because of this sudden pandemic. Then there was a lot of crises that came to us, challenges about guest labor. Guest labor meaning there were migrant labor. I don't tell they're migrant labor, they're the guest labor. They go from one state to another state and working. I was told 23 lakhs people shifted from one location to another location for whatever may be reason, maybe feeling of insecurity, maybe on account of roti, kapda or makan, maybe on account of COVID, maybe on account of health issues. But that is also a very bigger threat that will continue to be there. We have to deal with that. Then comes the unemployment rate. Actually, there is, if you compare during the month of June, July, there was the drastic fall down in the rate of unemployment. But during the month of, which was about 89 lakhs. But during the month of July, it became 49 lakhs employment. And that all can be cross-checked through ESI subscription or PF codes. How many people got and not. So that is all rumors that goes on in many social medias, but these are not correct. Now the next thing is work from home. It is one of the biggest challenges. Initially, people thought work from home is a pleasure. Sitting at home, sleeping at a cot, you can enjoy in your drawing room. But after a month, now people think it is how boredom it is. I have seen females holding one hand in mobile and the child is asking for food, but they tell, ruko, thoda ruk jao, please stop now. I have some urgent call. They're not even able to look after their family. There is no time frame. Nobody knows at what time the boss call will come or job will come. 24 hours they are on duty. There is no working time. That is a very biggest challenge to us. How do we manage that scenario? Now, next challenge that is coming, which is 1/3 of the population may you have to work even in manufacturing sector. How do we manage that job? Meaning there is something which I told, unlearning and relearning and reshaping the thing. We need to do that. That how do we say that 33% or 30% of workers we can run the manufacture at that same level which was there prevalent prior to March. Next is obviously the most important is, the current scenario that's socio-economic and political scenario. Whatever government may make policies, that is subject to challenge and opposition. There is opposition for the purpose of opposition. Even in fact, when on 22nd and 23rd, the bills are passed, labor codes, I was talking to some labor leaders, they were contacting me from Delhi. I asked them, you tell it is not correct, they should be challenged. You tell me a single point where it is wrong. Not that I say it is all good, but I asked them. They are not even aware. I told, do you know how many pages are there in a particular code? No. How many sections are there? No. Then what you have read? Have you ever thought in the past, in last 70 years, that even in fixed term employment, people would be given proportionate payment, including gratuity? Have you ever thought that? Ever contemplated, ever demanded even? Never. So there are many good things are coming that will come. But again, we have to see how we realign with the business, knowing all the laws. My co-panelist, Dr. R. Karthikeyan told also, the law is important, psychology and law. We have to keep the law in mind. How do we do with the subject? And now the socio-political and domestic situation, maybe we have to keep an eye on everything, not to act or react in that manner, but it has to be compatible to our business. we should not get biased with a certain views, which our young boys and generation are getting away. Never do that. Never go on media information. And there is a documentary I would suggest everybody to see, 1.5 hour, Social Dilemma in Netflix. Social Dilemma in Netflix. People should watch how bad is happening to the society all over the world. How there was agitation in Spain, Netherlands, Nigeria, Germany, everything you will see, and what is happening. So, and major challenge of our workforce is there. That is how to maintain ecosystem, how to deal with gig economy, how to deal with millennials. These are the bigger challenges because they have bigger aspirations. How to maintain work-life balances, that they work wonderfully so that there is no disruption in their own enjoyment. Earlier, we are telling work-life balances in nuclear family. Now we're talking that how much time they want to spend with their friends. They also want enjoyment, fun outside other than family. So there has to be some time limit. So we have to rework many such policies as of now. That is to be seen. Next, you see the employees profile, how it is changing now. And you would be shocked. Couple of issues that I have noted down. Earlier, our work timing was mostly 9 to 5. Now it is anytime. Location at plant. Now it is anywhere. Anywhere you are there, you can operate. Equipment. It was mostly company equipments we are handling. Now it is any device that you can do, whether mobile, laptop, anything that you are going to use. Focus. It was on inputs given to you by the bosses. Now it is the outputs you have to see. Now career, corporate, your growth was happening in corporate ladder. Now you have to create your own career. You have to create your own career. Work, it was always predefined. Now it is customized. Information, always hoarded, whatever used to come to you from the people from the top or peers. Now it is shared information. Now that is coming through various social medias, XYZ. There was no voice at all. At one point of time, it was all coming. I say no. But now this is the essence of the management. Many wisdom, knowledge that is coming. Remember, lot of knowledge is coming, but we don't know how much wisdom we are carrying. Of WhatsApp, Facebook, XYZ channel, media, you get knowledge above knowledge. आज तक मुझे इतना नॉलेज मालूम नहीं था जितना नॉलेज अभी व्हाट्सएप में है, बट विजडम हम लोग कुछ नहीं लेते, खाली पढ़ के स्वाइप कर देते, थम्स अप दिखा देते या स्माइली दिखा देते, इमोजी दे देते. But no, we have to catch up those wisdoms too. Now, earlier replies were going in emails. Now it is collaborated digital technology that we are looking at. Knowledge was focused. Now it is adaptive knowledge and things like that. Many things have happened over a period of time. That has happened because time is a constant. I'm moving a little faster. I will take another 5 minutes max. Now, friends, these B schools, they're doing a great job. The esteemed professors and faculties and the management are doing great job because they're giving the leaders to the society who would be ultimately controlling, monitoring, shaping, reshaping, rejuvenating, everything they will do. But I must say, one, the advice to the Business Institute, BCCM, that should be very often interaction between academia, students, and corporate executives. Because what corporate is looking at, that is very important. Not that what you are teaching. आप 8 papers पढ़ा रहे कि 10 paper पढ़ा रहे, it doesn't matter. What paper is relevant to me? What I would go through and I want to take when I am going for like Dr. Karthikeyan, what he looks at when he goes for talent hunting. That is more important. 2, every student should undertake quarterly at least one small case study project. They should go out from the institute, do a case study. Not like earlier one dissertation and 1-2 short case study that is sufficient. No. My idea is every quarter, if not quarter, at least half yearly, they should take up one project, sort of seriously like dissertation. They should know what is happening in the society in the compatible and current subjects, current scenario that must be incorporated. 3, curriculum. Now curriculum, what you have been teaching, I am also a visiting faculty at MDI Gurgaon, I am gone to Narsimunji, I am with XLRI, I am with XIBM. My point is the curriculum has to be revised every year. I remember Dr. Mangraska time, she has associated me in Regional College of Management in that academic council where this point was discussed, but it was not that extensive. But my suggestion and humble submission would be that curriculum should be revised, taking into consideration from the practitioners so that what exactly is required, what can build up the future of the students. Because we want them to get employment, secure employment, do business, do well. Not that getting a degree, MBA, but getting nothing. It should not happen. Yeah, three things definitely I will wish to share. But for students, because somebody was asking me about how they should be. One, Mr. Mahapatra told about leadership. Extensively he has told what is leadership. So I always tell leadership is essentially required. You should be leader holding the torch from the front. Please remember, leadership, I give an example. If you hold a garland, the thread which is binding the flowers, that thread is never seen. But that is actually the leader who binds everybody, it takes, only garlands are seen. So you should behave like that thread to tie up everything in a particular group so that your team should work. And team means together everyone achieve more. Together everyone achieve more. Then we have to recreate our competency level. That must be taught during your courses, but I tell just hints. You must really look at your competency. What are the competency factors that we should have? Next is our ability to communicate. When I'm talking of communication, not hearing what Dr. Karthikeyan or Major Mahapatra told or Madam Sujata told, listening ability. The art of listening is very important than hearing. When you listen really, there is a difference between the two. Then you observe many things within and you learn. Then of course, we should be always, we have to keep ourselves motivated. And how do we keep motivated? Doing some yoga, some concentration, something. You refresh your mind. You should be always stress-free. There are several stresses: family front, society front, economics front, defense front, friends front, and many other. I would not like to quote, but again, we have to keep sometimes stress-freeness. Then we have to, now the business and everything has to be rebooted, rejuvenated, redesigned, replanned, re-estimated, rebuilt, everything. There are 15 hours I tell people how it has to be done. So we have everything you have to recreate. That means innovation is also equally important. And earlier I was telling, innovation means many people used to tell, old wine is new bottle, but I tell different. It is new wine in new bottle. Earlier we are talking just for a example purpose. Kalyani beer, or maybe some other Kingfisher. Now it is Heineken. The bottle is changed, model is changed. Vera, Ultratech, the whole product is changing. Now it has to be new wine in new bottle. It is no old wine in new bottle. That has to be thing. And most importantly, our profession is no more a system, procedure, method based. Earlier it was, I'd say, HR or human capital management is nothing but it is a marketing business. We are actually the marketeers. We are in marketing business. We marketize the product. It is a product. We marketize the company's product to the society, to the people, to all the stakeholders. And it is inclusiveness. Everybody is to be taken together, and we market it, and we are the person responsible. We are the nucleus. We are the nucleus to do it. So it is a product. It is no more a system or technique. And last but not the least, most importantly, we should have always empathy. Empathy is very important with the people. We work with them. And above all, ethics and value system. We must have our own ethics and value system. We should create, build, rebuild. I think we have papers also in MBA that is being taught. We must know. And friends, in brief, I have taken still 20 minutes beyond the time schedule. I wish I can join you in future sessions so that I can share extensively what I intend to do. But there was one question before anybody asks, I have noted down, that was the question. What should the type of things that we should look upon? That was one question. I would give only 4 things. One is people. You must know how to reconnect with the people in which manner. 2 is what is the business. 3rd is the self. I must know what is me. Who am I? How am I? How I am doing? And 4th is the challenges of millennials. These are the 4 things that we must know extensively when we go to business.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mishra sir, for your elaborate address to the students about different things. And definitely, as you said, change is the only constant here in life, and we should unlearn, relearn, rejuvenate, reshape things, and this is how the life progresses, and this is how we develop. Now coming to the next round of the sessions, we have a lot of questions which has come up from the students and other participants. So one of very relevant and pertinent question as a young graduate, everyone has it in his mind or her mind, like after pandemic, and obviously pandemic is changing a lot of things. So after pandemic, which are the sectors which is likely to grow? So I would like to put this to Dr. Karthikeyan sir, and since he has been been to recruitment and into different organizations, so what do you think, sir? Which are different sectors who will see a uptick? I mean, which will be likely to be benefited in this situation?
Uh, Good and a valid question. One, while the COVID is happening, there has been a trend which is visible. There are sectors which has fallen very badly, like some of the service sectors, like your travel, tourism, supply chain, and wherever there were dealing with these kinds of things, they are all, and the ones which are doing well are healthcare industry is doing well, education is doing fine, manufacturing depending on your product. Interestingly, two-wheeler sales have increased. Basic models of cars have increased. Luxury car sale is intact. Okay, some of the cars, in fact, for example, the place where I work, Hyundai has increased the production. It has not cut down on the COVID. My another client, Caterpillar, is increased the production looking into the global trends. So we cannot put a zero sum and say this is good, this is bad. It depends on your product, it depends on your service, it depends on. For students' sake, don't take COVID so much into your understanding. Look more in terms of understanding of each sectors. Retail is hit very badly. Retail, because where I largely work with both into Reliance, Raymond's, Lifestyle, all the three are my clients. Okay, and they're talking about digital retail to take over, but the experience of retail, going to mall, is something psychological. Okay, which people would love to go once. So we know there would be some drop. For example, film industry, where my son belongs to. Actually, he is an associate director. I also write for movies. That's another story. But then today, it's all completely driven by OTT content. OTT has raised the bar of movies. We watch very good content. We watch extremely good content. But theater viewing experience is people wait for. But some of us would compromise in between and may not go to theaters at all. Elderly, vulnerable, okay? Or if you look at your purse. But media is transforming in a way, one side it is kind of polarizing. Small films doing extremely well. Multi-starrer big movies will wait and come. There's no in between. So I think the business models are changing based on each sector. What I would say is follow a sector very well. I would say look for trade information and not just academic journals. Even look for a newspaper. See how each one, and there are a lot of sectors. For example, one of my client, Deepak Fertilizers, has shown last quarter as a big growth. And I was only looking them as a kind of fertilizer product. But what they have done is, they have made sanitizers. Hand sanitizer, they give the raw material. Okay, so which is on demand. And healthcare, COVID has taken a space, but COVID has put a load on so many other things. Okay, which means super specialties other than COVID, the footfall has come down. People are actually very healthy, eating home food, being at home, not traveling, not so much of office stress, social stress, transportation. And if they can postpone a surgery, they are willing to postpone for 6 months. So it's not like a black and white. What I would say is look into each sector and say what will stay, what will go. Not an entire sector will go. Entertainment is repositioning itself. Television is repositioning itself. Banking has already repositioned and are trying it. So it all are highly interlinked. I would only say look at sector wise and see what would stay, what would go, and pick up a skill. And very rightly said, I would support what my other co-speaker was talking about it. Do some real-time work. It need not be even a project work, okay? But exposed to industry, pick up their problems, because B schools are best placed for that. You have the intelligence, you have the manpower, you have the time, you have the guidance from the faculty, and you have a corporate connect. Pick up real time and start feeding. I think that's the way you understand. Pulse is very important. Sorry for the long answer, but the whole idea here is it is not black and white. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not that.
Yes, rightly said. I mean, currently we are experiencing growth in some sectors, while it may not be after the situation normalizes. And one question is from the student, yes, whether we should be specialist or generalist, what is preferred? How much job rotation is important? I mean, we should, okay, both the panelists can take it. I mean, you can start with it. You can start, sir, Karthikeyan sir, and
no,
then
I think I would ask him to, because I said now I'll give this to Mr. Mishra, then I'll come back.
Okay.
Just maybe little fun. Let us enjoy. Somebody told me, when you suffer from some sickness, where do you go? To hospital. Where you first go? To casualty or emergency ward. Who sees your checkup there? The MBBS doctor who happens to be there on duty. And I believe that MBBS doctor is a super specialist, even if I'm suffering from heart. The reason being, first you go there, who is only MBBS or max MD, but he sees every patient whosoever comes, whether gynec, pediatrics, surgery, medicine, anything. Then he refers to a specialist. When you go to a specialist, he only see his part of the thing. If you are a surgeon of a hand surgeon, then you will only talk about this. But a casualty doctor never says so. He treats every patient whosoever comes. Meaning thereby, the old concept that jack of all trade, master of none, ये concept अभी ठीक नहीं है, ये changed world है. इसमें क्या होता है, whether you are a generalist or you are a very specific personality on certain trade, you must have adequate knowledge of everything, because job rotation is a must. Every industry is doing job business. In my company where I was working, it started since 25 years. I got rotation in many jobs, including in marketing area. Being a chair guy, in technical, I was heading a plant as CEO. I gave enough profit to that plant. I was transferred to Bombay to sell a couple of plants, 5 plants. But I reset it. They gave ample profit to the company. They are not sold. I was operating like an engineer. Meaning there is nothing distinction can be done. But yes, you should have knowledge, but not very thin layer knowledge. You have to go deeper into it to understand. Otherwise, a patient comes to casualty and tells, I am having pain in heart, and you refer him to surgery. No point doing so. You must know at least where you will go. Like in law, you must know, you need not know all the provisions of Minimum Wages Act or ID Act or Payment of Wages Act, but you must know in this subject which act to be referred. In fact, this is a profession, legal profession, where books are allowed, even in the Honorable Supreme Court. So you refer that knowledge you should have. So this is what, friends, you can understand. And I think supplementary to be from my co-panelist.
Okay, I will be brief. One is, I agree with the viewpoints, what he said. Generationally, this generation wants everything very fast. So we need to understand from the growth perspective, as a choice, they're asking whether you want to be a generalist or you want to be a specialist. Generalist gives a linear growth, specialist gives you a non-linear growth. Generalist has more opportunity, specialist has less opportunity. Okay, so I think it is a call you take. Initially, as he rightly said, start as a generalist, understand and get to have the inputs of all the areas. Then you would know whether you're an operation guy, whether you're a development guy, you're a strategy guy, or you have something else in your mind, like you were talking about in marketing. Today, I think branding, in terms of marketing, we are teaching inside HR, and I've done some very interesting work in terms of employer branding. One of the companies, they have so much of gender issue, like 2% of women, 98% of men. So they actually want to increase it. But the brand, people believe that, I mean, being an auto spare company, no one are even applying when they go to. So we really went and did some bit of branding work, core marketing work for HR. How do you kind of position this company to be a preferred company of choice? So these are all extremely delicate super specialists. But I think it all starts from a generalistic understanding about things. So both are important, but you can slowly move ahead into the areas where you have interest and expertise and opportunity, of course.
Uh, yes, sir. So students, I hope it is clear. Initially, you need to have an overview of all the things, the functional aspects of an organization, how it works in totality. It's a dovetailing of different functions together. And then later on, you build on a particular choice, or a functional build up on a functional expertise. With this, we would close our question and answer session, and we will be having. I would now request Professor Patnaik sir to address and propose a vote of thanks. Uh, sir, if it's a problem of connectivity, maybe you can join it over here. And since he's having a connectivity issue, I'll just hand it over the seat to Patnaik sir. So Patnaik sir, over to you for vote of thanks. Welcome, sir.
So good evening to all of you. A very interactive session has come to an end so fast. I wish we should have another 2 hours time. It would have been a lovely discussion. Thank you all, guest students, for showering your blessings to Spandan Club, the HR Club of BCCI. More and more people will have difficulty in managing themselves, said by Dr. Karthikeyan. Well, Dr. Karthikeyan, I'm finding difficulty to manage myself. So, what rightly you have told actually, this COVID period, some people have told it's very difficult to stay at home, work at home, and how to work with the office job and mixing that with the family, work from home, work for office. Dr. Karthikeyan sir, with your rich experience in training and development, having trained more than 50,000 employees across the country, we are delighted to have you amongst us. Your great fluency in communicative language and your unending knowledge has left a permanent mark in our mind and heart. My God, you have published 9 books in Tamil. 30 compliments to you. I don't think we can ever read those books because it is written in Tamil. Hopefully, please somebody translate it in English.
It is getting translated.
More opportunity to go through this. Rightly, Madam Sujata acknowledged your energy, tenacity, and perseverance in handling many HR critical issues. Thank you for your advices. To the students, you have told how the world is moving. We must watch it very carefully. We must be empathetic. We must have ability to handle uncertainty. We must work with common sense, work with emotional intelligence, must be inspiring, understand technology and data science, and play with our strength. Thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan. It was very nice interacting with you. It is very nice to hear your valuable advices, and thank you once again. General Mahapatra, in his inaugural speech, he reminded all of us the ghastly incident of 9/11 and 26/11 by terrorists. One of the incident happened in Taj Hotel of Tata's, where General Mahapatra said 600 employees were stuck up, and they didn't leave the place. There was a leader right from the bottom, Ms. Oberoi, and these 600 people were the last to leave after the problems were sorted out. That is the spirit of Tatas. Only Tatas can do it. I compliment Rudra Mishra sir for being a part of that organization. Having worked for 40 years with rich experience in blue chip steel company, Tatas are known to be the incubator of excellent HR professionals. Thanks to Mr. Mishra to be a part of that glorious organization, having worked for 34 years. Sir, your advice to students and all of us that never say no for any work. Play proactive role and not reactive role. Learning, unlearning, and relearning will be the future. Recheck your competency and if necessary, create your competency. Be innovative. Without innovation, the life comes to a grinding halt. We thank you very much, sir, to be a part of this webinar. Incidentally, you are a legal practitioner in High Court and Supreme Court of India. We wish you all the best and pray God for your flourishing practice in High Court and Supreme Court. Thank you. Our esteemed chairman of BCCN, General B.K. Mahapatra, is here. He is the supreme king amongst managers, industry managers. Though he belongs to defense organization, but he has been accepted across all people, be student or industry person, a research person, a doctor, an engineer. They have all accepted Dr. General Mahapatra as a motivator, as a powerful speaker. General Mahapatra, personality, commanding voice, and depth of knowledge are the role models for all students. Thank you, sir, for being with us and participating in the session. I now thank Madam Sujata Mangaras for introducing the guest. She is the captain of a ship, smooth sailing in a rough sea. All students of BCCM are in her heart, and she resides in the heart of every student. She is the supreme abode. Thank you, madam, for introducing the guest, and be our role model. Please continue to do it for years to come. I now thank Swarup Pradhan, Professor Swarup Pradhan, for giving the vision and objective of Spandan. Your comprehensive and lucid explanation of the Spandan activities were excellent. I hope the Spandan will achieve academic excellence in subsequent years. I now compliment Mr. Abhishek Sinha for moderating the whole session. He has a nice voice. He has insured his voice for $1 million. So thank you, Abhishek, for making the session more interesting. I now thank all the students and participants and students who are asking questions and everybody who gracefully stayed with us till the completion of the session. Thank you very much. We come to an end over here. Thank you once again. Thank you. The best.
So thank you, Patnaik sir, for the vote of thanks, and I wish I could insure my voice for 1 million rupees, but it was indeed $1 million. That's what I mean, not even rupees. So thank you, Patnaik sir, and in fact, whether be it a pandemic situation or otherwise, what the panelists spoke about are certain soft skills or certain competencies which are required in each of us all the time. Learning, people management, uh, different host of aspects. I will not go into that again. And I hope the students got a lot of valuable inputs from our esteemed panelists and will practice these things consciously and build up their professional careers as well as be a good human being. So thank you once again, all the esteemed panelists, Chairman Sir, Dean Ma'am, all the students, all the faculty members. And with this, we will be closing this session. And thanks once more. And we look forward to hearing from both of you again. Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Kartikanji. Thank you, Mr. Sir. Thank you so much. It was really excellent. Really excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We took extra time. I'm extremely sorry. It was delayed. And thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Look forward seeing you all there in your campus.
Yes, sir. We are expecting you in the campus, sir. And both of you should be in our campus. We look forward to this, hopefully in 2021, and definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bhai sir, thank you. Today morning only I requested you. I'm so glad that you accepted. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kartikanji. It's a great pleasure. And I wanted to quote that your son is a film, I think, film industry. I saw it on the Facebook. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you, ma'am.
Abhishek. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.